So today is the 17th of May 2018 and I look horrible. I look absolutely horrible. But this here is the face of a survivor. I'm a survivor, I'm a survivor. I never knew that this could happen to me. I think the thing with life is generally when stuff happens, you never really think that it'll happen to you, or you never really become aware of how brutal or how horrible a violent act can be until it happens to you. I've been in South Africa for 10 years. I'm home now in Harare today. And the ironic thing is, at the back of my mind, I was just like, yay, today's Doug's birthday. I really wish I could be in Zim. Well, as you can see, I am here, but I am beaten and battered, but I'm alive. Okay, so I'm shooting this video because I want to just talk a little bit about what happened, but more so about my perspective on life right now and kind of how I want to move forward. On the 15th of May, I was sitting at home. I was texting friends and family. That's the electricity going on, as so happens here in Harare. I was sitting on my phone texting friends and family. And then my bedroom door opened, and usually, Flo knocks at my door before she comes in. She doesn't just barge in to my bedroom, but someone just opened the door, and I thought it would have been Flo, but it was a little bit strange because Flo doesn't just come into my bedroom without knocking. This tall colored man walks into my room, and I'm obviously taken aback because, first of all, we weren't expecting any visitors, and then this tall colored man walks into the room. And then he says, "Where's your people?" And I'm like, "What people?" It's like, "Your people, man, your people." Mentally I'm scratching my head at that moment because I'm just like, what the fudge? What is this man talking about? First of all, what is he talking about? Second of all, why and how is he in my flat? And then he steps out of the room for a second, and I quickly ran to go grab my keys, which were on the hook. But by the time that I grabbed my keys, he was back in my room, and now he was coming in to attack me. And I found myself on the floor kicking and screaming and shouting and fighting, and he was trying to mask my face with my red scarf, which I've thrown away and never want to see it again. And he was like trying to suffocate me and trying to blindfold me all at the same time, and I'm kicking and shouting and screaming. And I'm screaming Flo's name because I know she's in her room. And I'm like, "Flo, Flo!" And I'm screaming and I'm yelling. And I even yell and I say something in China. I'm like, "Flo da kufa," which is translation for Flo, I'm dying. Because I legit felt like this man was going to kill me. Anyway, fast forward, he grabs my scissors, which was by my bedside table. I don't know at what point he launched an attack, but I do remember seeing his fist up in the air. He was obviously coming in to try and punch me because I'm obviously fighting back. In my mind at the moment, I'm like, God, not today. I'm not going to die today, and then I yelled and I screamed and I shouted at him, and he's trying to hush me. He's like, "Shh, shh." And I'm just not budging, and I'm kicking and I'm fighting. At some point, I felt like I was running out of strength. And then in that moment, I remember praying, saying, "God, not today. I'm not ready to die today." And then I don't know where I got the burst of strength from, kept on fighting. I managed to get a hold of my pair of scissors, which he was now holding at this point. He was up in the air and was coming towards me, and I managed to grab a hold of the scissors somewhere. And then I had my pepper spray in my right hand, and he's now like literally like in my face. And I took my pepper spray and I sprayed him. I sprayed him, and I tried to spray him in the face, like in the eyes and in the nose and stuff. But I also got affected by the pepper spray. And then at some point he said something in Afrikaans, and I was just like, ek kan nie praat nie Afrikaans, ek kan nie praat nie Afrikaans, I cannot speak Afrikaans. Yeah, and then he launched off, because I think now the pepper spray was like fully like affecting him. And then he like just went away from me, and I'm like, what do you want? What do you want? And he's like, your cell phone, where's your cell phone? And I'm like, there, because it was on the bed. And he keeps searching for something, and I'm like, what else do you want? He's like, the other cell phone. And I'm like, I don't have another cell phone. Then I managed to grab a hold of the laptop. I'm like, there's the laptop, just take it and just go. And then now he's like heading out of the flat. And I just remember at some point now I'm out and I'm in the lounge, and he's like, just go there, just go there. He's trying to get me as far away as possible from him, and he's trying to exit the flat, but the door is locked, so he couldn't go out. Then he's like, where are the keys? Where are the keys? And then I give him the keys, and he tries to open and he tries to leave. And then at this point I notice I'm bleeding, and there's like a trail of blood behind me. Like I know it had been like a violent attack, but I didn't actually feel anything while everything was going on. I think I was so focused in like trying to fend this man off and to fight for my life. Yeah. And then he came back and he's like, where are the keys? And I'm like, there, just open the door, you'll find it, just open the door, just go. And then he opened and he let himself out. And then when he let himself out, I literally went into the shower as I was. Like I was wearing a pair of tights and like a jogging shirt. So I took the shirt off and I literally just went into the shower as was. And then after that I stepped out, and then I went and I knocked on Flo's door, and I was like, Flo, and then she opened because obviously she heard the commotion. And then she's coming out and she's crying, and I'm like, shh, Flo, shh. Because I'm trying to stay calm in the moment, like I'm still trying to make sense of what had just happened. And then after that, the police came, they took statements, and then we went to Victoria Hospital because I'm not on medical aid anymore. We get to Victoria Hospital, we go to the emergency unit, and there was like a waiting period of 5 hours. Like I have like a deep gash on my right hand, like he literally stabbed me in the hand, like it's like a very deep gash in my right hand. So like I'm bleeding, and like obviously at that moment like my eyes are swollen and all that jazz. And and then like they decided that. So now at this point I'm with Flo and I'm with Simone, one of the neighbors, because she managed to like wrap my hands up and to like control the bleeding and all of that. And then like they were having none of it. They're like, actually, you know what, let's go to a private medical facility. And I'm like, Flo, but I don't have any money right now. She's like, don't worry, we'll worry about finances later. Then we go to Rondebosch Medical Clinic. And just a big shout out, I want to say thank you to the staff at Rondebosch Medical Clinic. Thank you so much for your professionalism and just for showing me your concern and your care in that moment. I can't remember the name of the doctor right now, but if you see this video, you'll know who you are. So I just want to personally say thank you to you for that. And then I got treated, got a few injections, got a tetanus shot, got some stitches done. And then at that moment, when I got back home, I discovered that my parents had bought a ticket for me to come back home. So here I am. I'm in Harare. So the incident happened on Tuesday. I flew out of Cape Town on Wednesday, and today is Thursday. Okay, so that's just the story of what happened. But right now, I kind of just want to talk about my state of mind and where I'm at the moment. And yes, I am quite sore. I'm obviously bruised and battered and sore. I am quite emotionally sore as well because prior to this incident happening, I had already told myself that I want to leave South Africa. I no longer want to live in South Africa. There are just a lot of things about living in South Africa which make life a little bit challenging and complicated, especially as a black female foreigner. And I will talk about it or write about it in future. I've definitely got quite a lot to say on that front. Not just based on my own experiences, but based on experiences of friends and family, people very close to me, people not so close to me. It's almost as if the narrative, although varied, the narrative is pretty much the same. in South Africa. But anyway, that's not the point. So just going back to where I was. So at that point, I had said to myself that I wanted to leave, and I was kind of ramping up to leave. And I remember feeling extremely overwhelmed at one point, and in one of my prayers, this was actually earlier on in the week, it was probably the week before, well, it was definitely last week. I remember sitting on my bed crying, and just asking myself, but why am I alive? Like, what purpose do I serve on this earth? It almost feels as if nothing in South Africa is trying. Almost every door you knock on gets closed in your face, literally. Either because you are black, or either because you are female, or either because you're foreign. In my case, I would say it's a combination of all. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail about that right now. I will highlight exactly what I'm talking about in another talk, or I'll write about it somewhere else. But I just, was really feeling like, but God, why am I alive? Why am I on earth? Why did you put me here? And I remember crying to myself in bed, and I remember praying, saying, God, just take my life away. Just take me away. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be alive anymore, because I just don't see, or I don't understand my purpose. I don't understand where this whole life thing is going. You fight so hard, you try so hard just to be an independent someone, just to be someone who can hold their own fort, and you get to a point where you're sick of it, and I'm just like, but God, where am I going? Where is all of this going? And in that moment, I really felt like I don't care. I was just like, I don't care. Like, I don't want to be alive. God, just take my breath away. And I remember crying out loud and praying. Then I wake up the next morning. Okay, now I actually remember when that was. So I was attacked on Tuesday. There's a sermon that spoke to me on Monday. So I prayed on Sunday. The prayer was on Sunday. I remember waking up on Monday morning, still alive. And I'm like, okay, well, it's either God really loves me or he really hates me. Either you love me so much that you have to keep me alive even after I've poured out my heart, or I don't know. It's either you love me or you hate me. It's either you love me and you've got the plans that you have for me, and you know what you want to do for my life. And when I'm saying you, I'm talking about God. Or I'm just another 1 in 7 billion, and you really couldn't be bothered. So yeah, this for me is pretty much digging into two things. It's kind of questioning where and how I see God, and I've been questioning where and how I see God for a very long time now. Actually, it's been quite a while. Still figuring out where exactly God fits into my life and how exactly God fits into my life. Still figuring that out. But yeah, so I remember waking up on the Monday morning and thinking, okay, God, either you love me or you hate me. Then on Tuesday, okay, no, sorry, my timelines are kind of warped at the moment. I prayed on Saturday. I woke up on Sunday. I was still alive. I was like, okay. And then, okay, no, I'm wrong. I prayed on Sunday. I woke up on Monday still alive, feeling like, God, either you love me or you hate me. And then I listened to a sermon that my friend had sent me actually a while ago. Only that I hadn't managed to listen to that sermon at the time when she sent it. And there's some things in that sermon that she said that really hit home. Like, I felt like, not that I felt, but I know that God was speaking to me. Obviously not to me only, because God speaks in various ways and to various people. But in that particular moment when I was listening to that sermon, that's exactly what I needed to hear at that point in time. She was just highlighting a few things about purpose and figuring out where we're going with life and other personal issues that I don't really want to touch on right now. But that really spoke to me. And I'm like, how weird is it that I've had this sermon in my phone the whole time? I haven't had the chance to listen to it up until now. And that for me was a God moment. Now, I've had a few God moments in my life, and for me, a God moment is when God speaks, and it's either through someone else, and it could be through like a prophetic word or through a sermon or just, I don't know, like various ways. Sometimes it's dreams, sometimes it's visions, sometimes it's dreams. But in that moment, I know that God is speaking to me. And I felt like, okay, so I do have reason to go on. There's obviously still a lot more ahead of me, and God's not ready to give me up just yet, and so I shouldn't be ready to give up just yet. So yeah, on that note, I am battered and I'm bruised, but I'm still standing, and I don't exactly know what exactly the future holds, but I do know that I will figure it out. And I do know that there is hope for as long as I'm alive. I mean, look, I'm breathing. I could have been dead. I literally was supposed to come back home in a box. I would have been in a box today. I would have been pretty much heading to the grave. But I'm alive, and I'm very thankful for that. Okay, I know I have a tendency to deviate on like my topics. So Sunday I prayed. Monday I'm hearing the sermon. Tuesday I'm being attacked. And I knew that I was gonna die. I'm obviously not dead, which means that God loves me. That's confirmation for me that God clearly loves me. I remember somewhere in the middle of that fight praying, like I'm kicking, I'm punching, I'm screaming. And I remember somewhere in the middle of that fight saying, God, not today. I know I said I wanted to die. God, I know I said I didn't want to be alive, but not like this. Not today. This is not how I want to die, and I'm not ready to die. And somewhere in the middle of that fight, I screamed and I said to him, I rebuke you in Jesus' name. Now, that was me shouting out loud. And in another moment, I'm on the floor for a second. And it's almost as if like I'm held in suspense in that moment. And I was praying, and I was praying, and I was praying. I was like, God, not today. Not today. Yeah, so those are the things that have kind of happened in a very short space of time. There are many other things that have happened over the past year or so that have been very challenging, but the whole point of this video is pretty much just to say that for as long as you're alive, there is hope, and all of us are going to figure out, well, let me not say we're going to, but all of us have got the potential to figure out what our purpose is, and we have to work at it. And I'm standing here today saying I'm going to work at it, and I'm going to thrive. I'm not just going to survive. I've survived a very brutal attack, but I'm alive and I survived. So for me, this is the mark of a survivor, and I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I absolutely, utterly refuse to feel sorry for myself. This for me is kind of my mortality, or I can say it's my, I can say mortality motivation. I heard it in a Goldcast talk. I can't remember exactly who it was that said it, but he was basically recalling an incident where he had a car accident, and this was at the age of 19, and he then received what he coined his mortality motivation. He realized that at some point he was going to die, but that day was not the day for him to die, and he had so much ahead of him, and he was pretty much spurred into his purpose or his destiny from that moment onwards. So yeah, I'm just saying that for me, that was definitely my mortality motivation moment. And I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. And moving forward, I am absolutely looking forward to making the most out of my future, making the most out of the present moment, making the most of the life that is within And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Yeah, so I think I'm starting to kind of go around and around in circles now, and I'm starting to blab quite a bit. But hopefully, the next time I do a video, I won't be as bruised and as puffy as I am right now. And hopefully, I will definitely be more on track when it comes to figuring out this whole purpose and destiny business. But yeah, from me, Mumbai, here at home, at my parents' home in Harare, toodles!